So the next plan of attack is going to be to remove these parts of the plenum chamber so that the fuel tank gets a bit more clearance. So my mate Sean come over and gave me some guidance on what we're going to do. We're going to chase up some smaller injectors and we're going to cut the bottom of the fuel tank out so this feed pipe doesn't hit it anymore. So let's get it happening. Haven't been in there for a while, so that's what we got, all nice and bell-mouthed or radiused. Let's chop the rest of it out, which is this piece here, and do the other side and see if the tank fits any better. So to remove the this part here, I've just drilled a lot of holes. I'll drill bigger holes in there and hopefully be able to break that piece out and then clean it up with the porting tool. I've drilled all the holes. Should just break off now. Okay, time to clean it all up, see what we get left with. Good. It's definitely going to have a boost leak from that hole. Half a side's done. It's not too bad. Let's have a crack at this side now. This time I've cut a small window just so I can have a look inside, so I don't touch the floor of the plenum chamber with the jigsaw or the drill bit. So I've drilled all the holes, cut it all out except for a few little pieces. Put my crescent on. And nothing. More drilling. Let's have another go. It's better. Okay. Porting tool time. Get rid of all this stuff and bring it down to the right level. Well, there's a couple of big holes in there now. Basically, we've chopped the sides of the plenum chamber out, so I'm going to fit the rear subframe back on, put the plenum chamber back in, and then see if this gives me clearance. I've also need to remove the feed pipe, because he's still going to hit under the tank. But yeah, hopefully today, when the throttle body's in the plenum chamber in, I have clearance and the fuel tank sits down properly. So there's the freshly painted subframe fitted back on. Should come out pretty good. So I've just fitted the fuel tank, and basically we've got clearance. Pretty happy with that, because I don't have to chop any more out. I can wobble the plenum chamber about and it doesn't touch on the underside of the tank like it did before, and sitting down firm on the subframe, and also it fits correctly at the front. So next bit is to make this feed pipe fit, which he still hits under the fuel tank. So basically we've got to cut a minimal part out from under the center of the fuel tank to give it clearance so it doesn't rattle around and hold the fuel tank up. So that's the next mission. He's the culprit that hits under the fuel tank when it runs from here and down under the throttle bodies, is where it's fouling on top of the fuel tank. So I'll bolt him on and we'll see what we got to chop out. So there it is, all bolted up. Now we'll try and find where it fouls the tank. Hits by a long way. So underneath, don't know if you can see it, but basically that's it right there. Let's fix it. So here's my brainwave. I'm going to put a strip of copper coat right down the center of the pipe, which I've done. Carefully lower it onto it, see what mark it leaves under the fuel tank. There's a mark from the grease. I managed to sneak a texture up on one side to get beside the pipe. So that shows me the width. So we'll have a bit of a guesstimate and chop up a good fuel tank. That's the center of my tank. That's the center of the pipe. That's the width of the pipe. I'm going to remove this and hopefully it fixes all the issues, or at least starts to. So that's it all cut out. I just need to break these guys out and then clean it up with the porting tool, then see what clearance I got. That's inside the aluminium tank. So with it sitting down at the front and it sits at the rear as well, but I can just feel that it's not quite right and it's going to need a little bit more taken out, but pretty good for our first crack at it. Like, it's nearly perfect, but we need it to be extra perfect. So now that I've stuck the camera in the front of the bike, I can see that the clearance that I now have is enough to dodge the feed pipe. I'll take it to my mate's shop, get him to panel the side of the plenum chamber in and also the underside of the tank, and then see if it all fits correctly.